Hello everybody, it is the Lawn Gnome and welcome back to another Funko Pop update. Well guys, if you've been following me over the last couple of Funko Pop updates, you obviously know that we are now officially at the second to last Funko Pop update over here on my channel. It has been such an amazing ride, and I think now, because if you've been hearing, especially being Funko fans, all the news that's been coming out all over the internet, whether it's real or whether it's just fabricated, you guys obviously know that there's a lot going on in regards to the name that is Funko and the merchandise that it sells. And there's definitely a lot to discuss, but I'm not going to discuss it here. Today, I'm going to be showcasing a portion of what I like to call the rest of my collection, because I want to make sure that when I turn the lights down on this segment over here on my channel that has been here since 2013, that is quite amazing. Quite amazing. I want to make sure that I feature every Funko Pop that is physically in my hands and show it to you. So I am a little upset over the fact that there are two brand new lines that I am practically very much excited and invested in, but they're not complete yet because I'm still waiting on some to either be announced or some that haven't even been mailed yet. But I promise you that when we get to December, I'm going to showcase every last Funko Pop that is in my domain to you. I haven't decided how I'm going to do it. I don't know if I'm going to just do a Funko Pop update on its own and then give you the finale, which is going to be a nice live discussion, which will be a culmination of our journey here on this channel with Funko and where the future lies with Funko with two of my very good friends, Gina and Cami. Or am I just going to put it all together as one big video where I will showcase the rest of my collection, say my personal farewells to you guys, or go right into the discussion video, aka the grand finale, with my two good friends. So just keep watching and let me know if you guys have any thoughts or if you have any comments, and in the meantime, let's take a look at how my collection has been going. So this is actually going to be one of two groups that you're going to see today in regards to my collection. I did mention that when I was going to start showing off the rest, that the hauls were going to be pretty big. And that's just because of the fact that these are a whole bunch of pops that I have collected over the last couple of months. These are all been added to my collection in 2025, except for one, which I think was officially dropped off in my doorstep at the very, very tail end of 2024. So regardless, I'm very excited to showcase all of these pops. These are all going to feature music, movies, and television shows. Some iconic ones, also some specific franchises that never were in my collection before, and so I'm very glad to finally have them there. So let's go take a look at music first. So I have got two of the most iconic musicians in all of music. One of them never anticipated even having in my collection, but one day when I was at an FYE that just happened to be closing up shop for good, and then all of a sudden there he was for about $5. I was like, summer convention exclusive 2023 of Jimi Hendrix for that amount of money? Yes, please, because I do love Jimi Hendrix, and I wish I would have gotten the FYE exclusive of him lighting the guitar on fire, but you know what? You can only get what you get. But regardless, this is still a beautiful pop. I mean, it captures Jimi Hendrix's personality perfectly. Love the fact that he's holding the Fender Stratocaster the way that he's supposed to. This, I think, is the one that he actually recorded most of his albums with. Apparently, it looks like his very favorite one, which is a very valuable guitar. And I like the purple suit. I mean, purple suit, purple haze, you know that. And the glasses, I mean, to a certain degree, if you really think about it, it sort of looks like he's giving off a Prince vibe, but there's nothing wrong with that. It's still cool to finally have this iconic guitar player in my collection. And speaking of iconic musicians, I was always wondering if I was ever going to add Michael Jackson to my collection, and there was only one way that I was going to get Michael Jackson to my collection, and that was if we could get him in the outfit of my very favorite Michael Jackson song, which happens to be Rock With You. And it's a glitter pop. I am not one to feature glitter in my collection. I only had one, so this makes the very second glitter pop in my collection, and it is the Rock With You version of Michael Jackson. I mean, it is perfect, because his beautiful outfit is sparkling just like it does in the music video. I love this song to death, and of course you've got his beautiful Jerry curls that he had in that video, and the way that he's holding the microphone and the pose. This is exactly the way he's supposed to be in this video. So I'm so glad to finally have the King of Pop in my collection. He is worthy to be in my collection, and I couldn't ask for a better one that really suits my fandom. Let's move on to movies. This was another thing I did not anticipate getting in my collection. More Tron Pops. A long time ago, they came out with the glow-in-the-dark Tron Pops. I got the Tron and Sark, but I did not ever expect more to come out. But then when Tron Ares came out in theaters, which I never did see because I didn't really hear such good things, they added more to the original Tron, so I figured why not at least pick up Yori and pick up Kevin Flynn, especially because of the fact that I am a big fan of Jeff Bridges. So the funny question that I have for you guys is, this is not the first time that I've added Jeff Bridges to my collection. There's another Jeff Bridges pop in my collection. Do you remember which one it is? Come on, Funko faithful. If you've been watching my Funko Pop updates for all those years, you know exactly which one it is. But these are fine. I mean, look, the details are pretty much what you would expect. I mean, they're not the most glamorous. I mean, would it have been cool if they glowed in the dark? Of course. But you know what? They're still pretty cool. They're still very detailed. Yori was a pop I never would have expected to actually be made, but I mean, she is perfect. I mean, she looks exactly like Yori from the film. And once again, I would take this movie over the other Trons any day of the week just because of what it was, unless you're talking about the Daft Punk soundtrack. And the only redeeming quality of Tron Ares, which happens to be the Nine Inch Nails soundtrack. But now, let's get into some television. Let's get into pops with little companions, because they all seem to have a little companion. This was not planned, it just happened. So, they announced more Animaniacs pops, remakes of Yakko Wacko Dot, and a 2-pack of Pinky and the Brain. The one thing that I was very upset about was the fact that the deluxe pop of all three of them of the Warner Brothers jumping out of the water tower ended up being a Funko Hollywood exclusive. Shame on you, Funko. I would have bought that right away, and I'm not going to Funko Hollywood headquarters. But we got Slappy. And I love Slappy Squirrel. What's very interesting about this pop is the fact that she actually has a handbag that is dangling. Like, it's not something that's just stiff there. Instead, well, that's so dirty. That is very, very dirty. I'm sorry, but it's exactly who you want to see. Slappy Squirrel. She is perfect. And she comes with little Skippy. And I think the one thing I don't like about this pop, and there's very few things that I dislike about Funko Pops, is the fact that Skippy is just too small. He's definitely bigger than he's supposed to be when you take a look at the cartoon. I think that having a Skippy pop on its own would have been just fine. He didn't need to be a dinky little companion for Slappy. But now let's get into a pop that I'm so finally excited to talk about, and that is my Captain Raymond Holt, played by the late, great Andre Braugher from one of my favorite sitcoms of all time, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I had waited for years for Brooklyn Nine-Nine to become a pop line, and I said the only one I would ever want is Captain Holt. Not only was it just Captain Holt, it was Captain Holt and Cheddar. That was literally the icing on the cake. I mean, he's not the most detailed or fancy-looking one, because, I mean, like, not really much. I mean, the details on his uniform are fine, but when you look at this pop from a distance, you can definitely sense Andre Braugher in that pop. And, of course, we've got Cheddar, the little corgi, which is absolutely adorable. I was so glad that they gave us Cheddar, because you really can't have Captain Holt without Cheddar. So the fact that there were other Brooklyn Nine-Nine pops out there, I mean, I think, let me take a look in the box. I mean, you could have gotten pretty much everybody except for Hitchcock and Scully. You could get Jake, you could get Amy, Charles. I don't know why we couldn't get Rosa. We should have definitely been able to get Rosa and Terry, of course. I mean, we got a bunch of good characters, but you really need to get them all. And all I wanted was Captain Holt because I loved Andre Braugher on that show. He was so funny, and his acting was just chef's kiss perfect on that show. A man who could be so funny and keep the straightest of menacing faces is simply shows you how brilliant Andre Braugher was as an actor. And believe me, when he passed away, I was torn asunder. And now, a franchise that I never had in my collection until now. I had never had a single Star Trek pop in my collection. I am a Star Trek fan, more of a TNG fan, love Patrick Stewart, LeVar Burton, Gates McFadden, Michael Dorn, all those members. But when I found out that they were making a Q, and it was going to be one of those NFT exclusives, and now that I see that it's possibly unobtainable, I was really upset and said, I don't think I'm ever going to get a Star Trek pop in my collection. But then they announced a small wave celebrating Star Trek, and one of them was Data, a character that I love. But the reason why I got this Data is because it came with Spot, his cat. Data fans of TNG, no Spot. And I just thought that that's the main reason why I have to have this one, because it is Data and Spot. There was no other reason. I mean, again, not the most glamorous. I mean, the uniform is perfect. The badge is great. You've got the expressionless, the emotionless expression on Data's face, the slick back hair, the pale skin. But Spot, this is the reason why I had to have this one, especially that my favorite Star Trek film of all time is Star Trek Generations. We all know how Data's story ends in that movie, and it is adorable. So, these are all the pops that I wanted to showcase in this round. There's still more to go today. And finally, some things that I never thought would ever make it to my collection, but my goodness am I glad that they are, because of how much this specific world and franchise means to me. They made some brand new Muppets pops, and I remember a long time ago, back when I first discovered Funko, how there already were some Muppet pops created, and God, did they scare me. I mean, they didn't scare me as badly as the original Funko Pop of Goofy, but my God, did those pops terrify me. And I never thought I would ever be able to get Muppets into my collection, especially because of the fact that I am one of the biggest fans and admirers of the late Jim Henson. Nobody was ever able to do what he did before he showed up, and I don't believe that anybody is ever going to be able to do what he did in the future. No one is ever going to be Jim Henson. There will always be one Jim Henson. But as the years went on, Jim Henson pops, or things that were linked to Jim Henson, were created. I remember when my wife got her 3 Fraggle Rock pops, and she loves them dearly. And I remember when they finally made the Icons line and gave us Jim Henson holding the Muppet of Kermit the Frog, which was in my collection. And when that one was made, I was always saying this may be the only Jim Henson anything for me that was going to end up in my collection, but I apparently was wrong, because before I knew it, just very recently, they made new Sesame Street pops, and I had to get the Barnes & Noble Bert and Ernie 2-pack. And then a couple months later, they would make Cookie Monster as Alistair Cookie, which my wife and I loved and had to add to our collection. But when they announced that there were going to be more Muppet pops coming, and this is even after they announced the Muppet Christmas Carol pops, a movie that I'm not the biggest fan of. I know there are so many people that love that Muppets movie, but it's not my favorite. My favorite is The Great Muppet Caper. So then they finally gave us a brand new Muppets line. They still sort of freak me out a little bit, but there has been a great deal of improvement, and there were 3 specific boxes that I had to get. The first one that I wanted to show off is a Funko exclusive of the one and only duo of Statler and Waldorf. I mean, if you love The Muppet Show, you love these characters. If you love Muppets in general, you love these characters. Constantly heckling, constantly making those hilarious jokes, and I loved the Muppets Christmas Carol versions of them as Jacob and Robert Marley, but I didn't want Jacob and Robert Marley. I want Statler and Waldorf, and I got them. Not only do I love that they look very much like them, so full of the personality of the Muppets themselves, even with the black eyes, but I love the fact that they're sitting in their balcony chairs, because that's part of them. They are known to be just sitting in that balcony and cracking jokes. Love these 2. I love these sculpts. So glad to have them in my collection. But then there was a specific pop that they made, and even though it definitely was not one of the cheapest, I knew that this was a pop that I had to have in my collection. And that, of course, is the scene from the very beginning of the Muppet movie from 1979 with that amazing, amazing song that Jim Henson created, The Rainbow Connection. And it is Kermit sitting on a log in the swamp playing the banjo, singing Rainbow Connection. And first, let's look at the pop. It's beautifully detailed. The log, the swamp water, the lilies, you take a look at the banjo, all the way down to the pick itself, the face of Kermit, it looks great, as well as the backside. You still get all the details of the wood, but I was thinking about this when I was putting this video together to prepare to record it, and I realized that after all these years of me making Funko Pop updates, it is so appropriate to have this specific piece added to my collection at this time. Because when you think of the song Rainbow Connection, a lot of things can be thought about. But for me personally, Rainbow Connection is a song about finding the people that will eventually mean the most to you in your life. Someday we'll find it, the Rainbow Connection. We will find our friends. We will find the people that we love. And I think about it from a Funko community standpoint as opposed to my own personal life, but today it's about the Funko community. I know that Funko is not in the greatest of shape, but I still go back to that Making Fun, the Story of Funko documentary, and what is Funko really about? It's not just about these little vinyl figures. It's about making connections, finding the people of like mind that you have been searching for all your life, only to find all of these wonderful faces come together in a place that you all find common ground. And that common ground, that rainbow connection, is our love of everything pop culture. Movies, music, video games, books, television shows, sports. It's all here in Funko. Because Brian Mariotti said it best, we are not a toy company. We are a pop culture company. We do not buy products. We buy franchise licenses in order to make these little creations for all the people who love anything that is near and dear to their heart, whether it's nostalgic, whether it is personal, whether it tells a story, whether it captures time in a bottle. That's what Funko has always been. And that's what Funko always will be. At least to me. There are people in this world that say that with all the news with Funko, yes, I'm glad this is happening, they say. I've hated Funko Pops from day one. Well, to each their own. I look around this entire room, guys, this is not my entire collection, but this is a large chunk of my collection. There are Funko Pops all over this house, and I do not regret a single one that has entered my domain. There are over 500 of them in this collection. I've collected them for over a decade. And when I take a look at Kermit singing the Rainbow Connection, I say to myself, yes, I understand why these little figures are in my house, in my mind, and in my heart. And I have no buyer's remorse. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. I'm not going to ask to leave your comments about what you enjoyed in regards to new Funko products over the last couple of weeks, simply because of the fact that we are winding down. As a matter of fact, I didn't even give you any personal Funko news, even though there are some really great things coming, and even though there are unfortunately going to be some Funko Pops that are already pre-ordered but will not show up on my doorstep until after December. I will, however, give you guys a little bit of a sneak peek as to what they are, so you guys will still know what is on the way. But in the meantime, everybody, I just want to wish you all, once again, a big thank you and for all of your support for all these years. I'm really looking forward to the final episode in December, and I'm hoping that you guys will all have a wonderful, happy, healthy, and more importantly, a safe Thanksgiving. Until then, I will see you in the final episode next month. If you enjoyed the video you just watched, feel free to leave a comment. Also, feel free to subscribe if you want to be up to date with our latest videos. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we'll see you in the next one. Actions speak louder than words.